Hello, in this video we're going to take a look at how to do some calculations using standard form. I will say that this is for calculations with no calculator at all, okay? Because of course if you had a calculator it would be pretty simple. Right, so let's imagine we've got no calculator and we've got to work out some of these. So let's take a look at all of these in turn. Let's do a multiplication first. So let's take a look at A. So I have got two numbers, look, I'll put them in brackets, in standard form multiplying together. Now, if we're multiplying, the order doesn't really matter to us. So we could write this as 3.2 times 5 times 10 to the 4 times 10 to the minus 3. This is absolutely the same thing. And from there, we could do some simple multiplication, because using my laws of exponents, 10 to the 4 times 10 to the minus 3 is just going to be 10 to the 1. We're going to add the powers. Now, I can also do 3.2 times 5. Well, 3.2 times 10 is 32, so 3.2 times 5 is going to be 16. So I could certainly write this as 16 times 10 to the 1. Now, this isn't a good way to leave our answer. It's not in standard form or written as a regular number. So clearly 16 times 10 is 160. So we could either write our answer as 160, or we could write it as 1.6 times 10 squared if we wanted it in standard form. Okay, let's take a look at B. Now, B is a little different. I'm going to write it in fractional notation to start with. Okay, we're going to have 6 times 10 to the 8 over 3 times 10 to the 4. Now, when we have things in a fraction that are multiplying like this, we can cancel. Just think for a second about 3 over 6. Well, 3 over 6 is 1 times 3 over 2 times 3. We can think of 3 over 6 as a half, of course, by cancelling those 3's like that, right? It's a half. Now, we can do the same process here when we've written something in standard form. So, what's this going to be? Well, 6 over 3 is 2. 10 to the 8 divided by 10 to the 4 using exponent laws is 10 to the 4. We take away, we subtract. So this answer is just going to be very straightforward to us. It's 2 times 10 to the 4. Now, you might be asked to leave your answer in standard form, and this is already done for us. If not, well, it's simple to do, isn't it? It's going to be 20,000. Right, let's take a look at C. Now, C is a little more complicated, okay? So let's have a think about this one. So in C, we've got 7.2 times 10 cubed over, divide by, 6 times 10 to the 4. Now, this is harder to do because it's very hard to see what 7.2 divided by 6 is. But what we could do is we could times both of these numbers by 10 and keep that fraction the same, the top and the bottom, the numerator and denominator by 10. Because think about it, again, using another example of a regular fraction, a half is the same as 10 over 20. That hasn't changed the value. So that's what I'm going to do, because I can spot something, and I'll talk about why in a second, but let's just times them both by 10. So if I did, I might write the top one as 72 times 10 cubed. That's times the whole thing by 10. I've just changed that decimal to a whole number, pushing it up past the decimal place. On the right, though, I'm not going to change the 6. I think I'm just going to change that power to a 5. I'm going to times that 10 on that index like that. Okay, now why have I done this? Because I can spot that I can do 72 over 6, right? That is divides exactly. It's a simple calculation, and if you're working on these without a calculator, you're not going to get too many difficult, challenging ones. So 72 divided by 6 is 12. 10 to the 3 over 10 to the 5 is going to be 10 to the power of minus 2. So my answer is definitely equivalent to 12 times 10 to the minus 2. Now, before I go any further, I need to convert that either into standard form or a regular number. So let's put it in as a regular number. And just like we saw in the previous videos, right, I'm going to be moving that decimal place from where it started 2 spaces to the left, 1, 2, it's going to go there. So my number is going to be 0.12. So as a regular number, I've already got my answer. As a number written in standard form or scientific notation, it's going to be 1.2 times 10 to the negative 1. So be aware, you might need to play around with the numbers and move them around to get the answer you want. Now, let's do one more because we haven't done any subtraction or addition. Let's just try 4.2 times 10 to the 5 plus 4.1 times 10 to the 3. Now, there's no easy, clever way of doing this, okay? We're just going to have to write those numbers out as regular numbers and add them. So 4.2 times 10 to the 5 is 42, and then we're going to have 4 zeros on the end. 4.1 times 10 to the 3 is going to be a 4 and a 1, and then 2 zeros like that. So if I'm adding these together, perhaps it'd be easier to write them just like this. So what's my answer when I add them? Well, it's going to be 0, 0, 1, 4, 2, 4. There we go. Okay, 424,100. It's just a question of converting them to regular numbers and then doing an addition in or subtraction in the regular way.